Hello.
Hello.
What are we doing down there, sugar?
It's a rave. It's my neon rave. Well, this movie
Is
is
something.
it's like someone trying to describe a dream they had after taking a lot of NyQuil and watching MTV in 1995.
This year, Batman Forever, which is what we're covering today, 30 years old.
Ooh, we are old, my
30
friend.
years old. How does that make you feel? Does it makes me feel
Ancient.
super old? Oh my goodness.
But let's dive into it. Welcome, boys and girls, to the Sanctum Sanctorum podcast where comics and Christ culture collide. I am Joseph, host number one.
All right, well, I'm Chris, but I didn't like any of that just happened.
Are you technically Christopher?
I am technically my Christian government slave name is Christopher.
Christian. My Christian name.
My Christian birth name.
Yeah, I'm technically Joseph, but I go by Joey.
And I go by Chris. Which, now, when you were in trouble growing up, did you get Joseph?
I even got the middle name because my dad's Joseph too, so
Oh,
sometimes it
okay.
was Joseph Gerard.
Joseph Gerard. Wow, that's a mouthful and a half.
Is what it
I
is.
see, my mom always called me and still calls me Christopher. When she talks about me, when she says it to me, she always calls me Christopher. So when I was in trouble, it was always just Chris because it
Ooh,
came out nice and fast and sharp. It was like, Chris, stop. So it was a lot of that. So it was,
you got the reverse. Interesting.
I got the reverse. It was whatever could come out the fastest.
That's funny.
Yeah, right?
It's actually great, much like this movie today that we're covering, which as you can see, we are on Batman Forever.
Dun, da 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 da. Batman Forever. And as you may or may not have heard in the intro, depending on how Joey decides to do the editing, it is 30 years old this year. Came out in 1995, and it just makes me feel like an old man. But now, I didn't realize that, and now it explains why they like re-released all the Batman Forever toys, like the retro
Yep.
figures and the toy Batmobile and all that kind of stuff. It didn't even click with me when I saw it, and I even picked a couple of them up, and I was like, "Wow, this is fun that they did that. I just don't understand why they did it." And then it was like, "Oh, yeah, that makes more sense."
Because we're the Rock of Ages. But before we dive into that, I've got a comic culture moment for you,
For
Christopher.
for me personally, catered
You.
just to
Nobody
moi.
else. If
Oh,
everybody
what a
else listens, that's
sweetheart.
cool, but this is just for you. This movie is one of many comic book movies
Mm,
that have multiple villains. I
mm.
can think of many Superman, many Spider-Man, many Batman films that have multiple villains and juggle a lot of anarchy and tyranny and villainy all at the same time. But is that a good thing? Is it taking away from the struggle of the hero and the villain to have a singular bad guy, or does it actually open up a complex version of what evil is and how the hero gets to dive into that? What do you think about multiple villains in a superhero movie?
It's a really good question. No, I love the question. I don't know. I think it kind of depends on the story because, so for example, you could look at a movie like Spider-Man 3, and that was overstuffed. I didn't need New Goblin and Venom and Sandman. That was too much
Yep.
because you didn't really get to know any of them and they were such complex characters. Now that's different than something like Spider-Man No Way Home, where we had like 6 villains, but those were villains from past movies. It was like wrapping up those stories, and it was nostalgic and all these things. So that's a little different. Now, was it overstuffed?
With that, I'll push back because the villains weren't really the villains. The thing Peter was fighting for was doing the right thing. And so villains were the mechanism to get to that. So they didn't need to be developed. Also, like you said, you had years of history with these villains. You already knew them. I think
Exactly.
Spider-Man 3 is a better example of what you're saying. And that is what I mean. I think No Way Home is just totally off the rails.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it depends on the movie. Like, I'm not saying that No Way Home was overstuffed, but it had more villains than Spider-Man 3, which felt too much. But No Way Home felt fine because of the history you had with those particular characters and the actors playing them in the movies they were from. I know DC has a bad habit of this. I think that it can be done well and it can be done badly because it's akin to the villain just being the antithesis of the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's also like, well, would there only be one villain doing things at a time? Are they really taking turns? I mean, in comics, kind of. You don't often see the Joker and the Riddler and Two-Face and Catwoman and Mr. Freeze all trying to do a bad thing in one story arc. Usually, sometimes there are, but
Sure. What I like about that when that happens is I sort of transpose the villain and what they're trying to do to stressors in my life. It's rare that I just get to focus on the bills or just the kids or just the stress at work. It's always usually a little bit of everything. And so when I see multiple villains show up, I don't look at it like, oh, they're all hitting them at the same time. It's like, no, that's kind of how life is. You rarely get to segment each one. And that's where I think that works. But I would agree 100% with you. I think if the story serves the purpose, like what's that animated Batman series episode? It's your favorite one.
almost got him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's a cool story it's telling. And so yeah, you need all of them. Long Halloween is another one where you're telling a very particular story. And so yes, you need all of them. I think where Spider-Man 3 kind of falls in, where it was just like, well, last movie of the trilogy. I think Dark Knight Rises does this too. It's like, well, we had Bane, but we had Talia and we had Catwoman. It's like, you don't need them. You needed one focus. And I think that's where it sort of starts pulling away from it.
And the problem also is that it depends on how familiar people are with these characters.
Yeah.
That will drive that. So, I mean, since we're using Spider-Man 3 a bunch, we had seen a version of Green Goblin. We had never seen Venom and we had never seen Sandman, and they were kind of lost. You didn't get anything from either because you were trying to do too many plus this new Goblin. Before The Dark Knight Rises, the only Bane we had was, a very small nothing character in, again, another overstuffed movie in Batman and Robin. But then instead of taking the time to just develop him, you had to go back and see Talia al Ghul and relating to Ra's, and you had to see Catwoman and doing her thing and starting that romance. So again, I think it depends on the characters that you're using, and I think it depends on how familiar your audience is with those characters. On the other hand, like on the other side of the coin, if you would, I think that sometimes having a team fighting one guy is not great. Is not great either. You know what I mean? I don't love that the whole Suicide Squad was just fighting Enchantress. I don't like that all of the Avengers were fighting Loki, or all of the Avengers were fighting Thanos. Now I know he had an army and side characters, but it wasn't like, Endgame wasn't Thanos teaming with Zemo and Ghost and a bunch of the other major villains forming like a brotherhood of evil kind of thing. So I don't know that it works when there's a team of good guys and one bad guy, the same way I don't know that it usually works when there's a team of bad guys with one good guy.
But audience, what do you think works? Drop us a comment on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram and let us know. Too many villains? Is it a problem? Is it not a problem?
Should it be?
There's too many villains in this movie, but I think it works.
I think 2 is okay. I think if you go beyond 2, with very few exceptions, that's when you start to get a little muddy.
Yeah. But I have not 2, 1 face plot synopsis for you of this. Whew, what a film. What a film.
But indeed. I don't have a whole lot of good things, but let's get this plot out of the way so we can talk about it.
I do have good things, but cue the neon music. Here we go. Gotham is glowing. Literally. In this neon wonderland, Batman is trying his best to stop crime while maintaining his impeccable jawline. But things get complicated when a new villain shows up who doesn't just want money, chaos, and power. No, this glitter bomb question mark tornado wants your mind. And he will stop at nothing to get it. Meanwhile, former District Attorney Two-Face now makes every decision using 50-50, destroying half of the city to make his point, whichever side of the coin it happens to land on that day. These two villains, riddled with choice, team up to create The Box, a prophetic warning about TikTok. And we don't even have time to cover Robin's "You're Not My Dad" energy, a psychologist who's very interested in bats, and Drew Barrymore, who I forgot was in this movie. At the heart of all of this is an enigma bigger than any riddle. Are we defined by the masks we wear? And why does everything look like a Nickelodeon Slime Time contestant? We may never know, but flip a coin and find out in 1995's Batman Forever. Dun, dun, dun!
That was very nicely done. Very pokey funny.
Very pokey funny. Who's in this movie?
Well, let me tell you, it is a stacked movie. Now, this came out in 1995, and we have Val Kilmer, Nicole Kidman, Tommy Lee Jones, Chris O'Donnell, Jim Carrey, and is directed by Joel Schumacher. Now, the one thing I have to say about the casting of this movie, I don't love the casting fully, but Jim Carrey was arguably the biggest star. He had just come off a year of having Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura and The Mask all be #1 comedies, and so putting him in this movie was a smart decision. I don't know if it was a good decision. I don't know if it was a serviceable decision, but it was a financially sound decision as far as like using him to bill your movie.
It's the main good thing I have, and you basically just said everything that I have, but he is in peak Carrey 90s elastic face era.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, he had Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, and The Mask. And then after this, he gets Cable Guy, Liar Liar, and The Truman Show. He is unstoppable at this point, and I think this movie is a part of that.
Absolutely.
I used to just think, well, that was a blip, and all of his other things were really great because they highlighted him and he was just an ensemble. No, he's amazing in this movie. And I'll get to that.
The 90s, like 94 through maybe like 2001 maybe, that is Jim Carrey all day.
At his carriest.
Like he is killing it every movie. Even if it's not a hit, it makes money because Jim Carrey made money. Like he brought audiences in. Even if afterwards the movies were reviewed poorly, he made sure, like he put butts in seats easily.
But the movie might have been reviewed poorly, but not his performance.
Yes.
That's one of the things you have to point out. Like,
absolutely.
Particularly in this movie, sure, okay, maybe it's not rated incredibly well. He in this role is fantastic.
Disagree.
Why don't you kick off some good stuff? Because I've got way more than you do.
I'll kick off some good stuff, but we're going to talk about Jim Carrey, whether or not he's good in this.
Riddle me.
One thing I will say about the cast, everybody is very committed to the role, but Tommy Lee Jones is all in on this. He is
No,
he is complete this is completely I'm not saying he was good, but he was fully
I
committed.
disagree.
Like, this is not the normal kind of thing that Tommy Lee Jones would do as far as
No,
his
because
roles.
he's coming off a U.S. Marshal. He's coming off of very serious roles. I'll
Exactly.
push back just a little bit because I did a lot of the back stuff with this. He didn't get the character. He didn't know why he was asked to do it, and so he just shows up. And quite frankly, he tries to out Jim Carrey, and he fails.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Again, I'm not saying he did a good job, but he
Okay.
is fully committed. He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger level committed to the bit. Even if the bit
I'll push back a
isn't
little
working.
on that. I think Schwarzenegger is way more committed than this. I think he committed to an idea, but it is not the character.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is there's nothing really different about the two sides of his personality. Like, there is no duality in his personality. So from that standpoint, if you're trying to develop Two-Face, swing and a miss. You're having a good time, but and I agree with you, like, you're committed to what you're doing, but what you're doing is not this character.
Absolutely. It's absolutely not. And I'll get
All right, we're on the
I'll
same
get
page
into
then.
that with my bad about the characterizations of two of my favorite characters. But that's what I feel. I don't love the performance of the Riddler, but I actually really like all the Riddler costumes. I think they're all really fun and wacky and questionable, but they're fun. My favorite, and I dressed as the Riddler for Halloween, I think the year this came out. And I had the jumpsuit and the hat and the mask.
Here's what I'll say about the Riddler. He is, because we're talking about it, he is magnetic, he is memorable, and he is a comic book brought to life. And you can see that other comic book movies and other comic book film villains take their cues from Carrey's Riddler. It's Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man. It's Cheetah in Wonder Woman 84. It's the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. But what Carrey has that none of those other ones that I've listed have is an undertone of creepy. He's brilliant in this role in a way that everybody else rips off but never captures the way that Carrey does.
I'm going to get too much in my bad, but I have a lot to say about that. So
I can't believe we disagree this much.
I'll explain why I disagree, but it's gonna be a part of my bad.
Fair enough. That's what I think. Keep going with your good.
Again, I'm probably gonna say this every single time we do a Batman movie. Alfred's the best.
Alfred.
Love Alfred.
Yep.
Alfred's always good.
Michael
And
Go.
this version of Alfred is just very snarky, and I kind of like it. It's respectful, but it's
I think this is where Michael Caine took his snark from.
yeah. When they solve the last of the Riddler's riddles, it's like, oh, you really are
Yep.
quite bright, despite what people say. It's like, oh, what a little dig there, Alf.
Ooh,
Man,
how British.
just poking at him there. Speaking of the Riddler's puzzles, I like the Riddler's puzzles. I like that they're, little, pop-up books and have little things
They were
attached
fun.
to them. They're fun. Val Kilmer is a really good Bruce Wayne. He is I don't love him as Batman, but I think that he does Bruce Wayne really, really well in regards to like the 90s Batman.
He is what I liked about this that I hadn't caught previously watching this is that this is the first on-screen new approach to the Caped Crusader, which is a soft-spoken, reflective, not trying to be funny the way that Keaton was. Mm-hmm. He's reflective, but he's innovative. I like that choice.
He's intelligent.
Because,
he's not like confused and befuddled by everything.
Yeah, he made a very intentional pivot in the character, and I like where he landed with it. I've got way more to talk about with that character choice and what's going on there. But I think new actor, new Batman, new Bruce Wayne. I think he lands it really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he really did well with that. Um Now with him landing on kind of this new version of Bruce Wayne, I think that one thing that this movie does well too, that other superhero movies, but certainly other Batman movies, don't always do well, and that's make Batman the center.
Yes.
Like Batman, this is about Bruce Wayne dealing with his trauma, coming to grips with things, taking on this like mentorship role with Robin, of figuring out what his love life is look like. Am I going to be Batman? Am I not going to be Batman? Why is the Riddler obsessed with me? Guilt over Two-Face. Um, and it's about him. Now the villains get some story. Robin has some story. There's other events going on, but this is a Batman. This is a movie about Batman. And a lot of other
Yes.
Batman movies are more about the villains because oftentimes they're more interesting, but they really took the time to give you Batman in this.
Or like Batman Returns, it's about Bruce Wayne.
Right. Right.
This balanced it really well, which, you know, that's a crucial part of telling the Batman story. It's the dichotomy between the two characters found in the one person, but which is the real self? They played that so well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was
more
really
on
good.
that, but we're coming there.
The last thing I have, and this isn't
That's
really.
it.
That's it.
So many good things here.
This isn't really good or bad. It's if you like it. This is so very clearly inspired by Batman 66,
Yeah.
especially the villains and the writing is just, it's very Batman 66. And if you love that and that's what you look for in your Batman and your Batman stories, then great.
You're going to have a
But
great
if
time.
you were looking for something a little more serious, then, you know, that was clearly an inspiration for Mr. Schumacher. So,
Totally.
and that's what I got.
Oh, boy. I got way more. Here we go. Dick Grayson's arc really follows grief well. I thought that they did a great job progressing where the character is found and where he ends up. I didn't say portrayal. I said character arc. Where he starts and where he ends, there is a clear progression, and he clearly gets to from A to B.
I guess.
Yep, that's right, you guess. Again, he didn't do a good job. The character arc is good. Okay.
Okay.
Did you know that Jon Favreau was an assistant on this film?
No, I did not. Same way I didn't know. Same way I forgot Drew Barrymore was in it.
Yeah, I was looking through the credits. Okay. Val Kilmer, in making the choice to be a deeply stoic character who appears to have almost social anxiety, like trouble connecting to the character, but he's actually like conflicted in himself as the character. I loved that take. We sort of touched on this a little bit. Yeah, there needs to be the dichotomy of the two characters, but he's actually really conflicted internally. And I think a lot of people would look at the character and be like, well, he was a flat Batman. He has no personality. He doesn't really show up. No, I think that's intentional. I think he's intentionally trying to pull back the level of humanity that we're experiencing from Bruce because, as we'll get to in a little bit, there's a detachment as he's trying to figure out which is my real self. And so he never really shows up to either of them until the very end. And I liked how that kind of showed up.
Yeah, that was good.
You know, he sort of isolates himself the entire movie until he lands on the restoration and the reconciliation within the emotional turmoil he's going through.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first Batman movie. Now, obviously, we only had, 66. We had Batman 89 and Batman Returns. But this is the first Batman story to ask, who is Bruce Wayne? Why is Bruce motivated to become the Bat? Why is he being Batman in the first place? This is the first Batman movie to do that. And in doing that, I realized this movie is actually more closely connected to the Dark Knight trilogy than any other Batman. just in its theme, forget the neon, just in its theme of asking that question. I thought that was cool because it's the recurring theme that keeps coming back over and over again. The same way, if you go back and you listen to our conversation, I bring up about Batman Begins, like there's a constant question we're asking throughout the movie. It's the same thing here. Schumacher does it really well. I also thought that this is the first and only movie that has addressed Batman's motivation as revenge. Never talks about it in any other movie. It's always like, there's vengeance, but vengeance is not revenge. And he feels like he doesn't have a choice in being Batman. And what's really cool is he tries to give that choice to Dick. He tries to give Grayson that ability to say, look, I don't have any ability to get out of this, but you do. And I think in that, Robin is really the better version of Batman. He's what Batman wants to become, somebody who's not controlled and compulsed to do what he does in the night out of revenge, but he can't get out of that. And so he's trying to give Robin something better and redeem him. And so in some way, like, Batman does need Robin, but Bruce really needs Richard in that regard.
You know, and it's interesting that you say that. I was just recently reading, I was, doing some back reading about the Joker, and I know Joker is not in this movie, but the Joker, more than any other member of the Bat family, hates Dick Grayson the most because it's the only Bat family member who is so close in like personality and drive as Batman, but he was never able to break him. And so, yeah, I think that there's a lot of story with Dick Grayson being almost the healthy version of Batman.
Right. And I see that in this. I see him saying, like, look, here's all my failures. Here's all the ways that I haven't measured up, and that haunts me. You don't have to do that. In fact, I don't want you to do that. And I thought that was really cool. This movie, like I said, has an incredible, accurate thread throughout it, and it's all about identity. Bruce is figuring out who he is. Two-Face is figuring out the pull of his split personality. Edward is embracing who he really is because the entire time he's suppressed. It's really interesting. Like, of all the characters, like all of them are repressed in some way. They're all held back. What I thought was kind of interesting is that their civilian clothes are the mask that they're wearing. Like, but their costumes actually have the vibrancy and the color and the brightness of who they really are. And, all of these characters are sort of forced into a box. You've got this punk acrobat kid. You've got a brooding billionaire. You've got a manic genius. You've got a DA. By day, they're wearing their mask, but by night, they don't need to hide it anymore. And all of that actually serves the characters and the story really, really well.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and that's something that they definitely address in Batman Returns too. When when Selina and Bruce talk about the masks they wear and who they are. The Selina Kyle and Bruce Wayne are really the masks, and Batman and Catwoman is who they are. Truly, like, it's truly who they are. There's a great comic, I think it's in the Trinity comic, when Wonder Woman holds the lasso and says, "I'm Diana of Themyscira," and then Superman holds the lasso and says, "I'm Kal-El of Krypton, and I'm Clark Kent of Earth." And when Batman holds it, he says, "I'm Batman," because that's his truest identity, is Batman. Bruce is the mask. So yeah, you're right. They all kind of deal with that aspect of the masks we wear.
Yeah. Last thing I have, all of the villains are mirrors. Every villain is a themed funhouse mirror, a reflection of Bruce. Two-Face represents the binary identity. It's the light and the dark. Riddler wants to steal identity and become someone else, like Bruce does. Robin is Bruce's origin story repeated. each one of them is a version of his story that he's either trying to defeat, to come to terms with, or to set up for something better. And each one of them is interwoven into Bruce's story and his process immaculately.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's all I got for good.
That's some good insight.
Good.
Do you have any other stuff?
I do. I have 3 of them. I'll go first.
Go for it.
Chase Meridian.
Oh my goodness. What a grand pursuit she must be.
Her entire personality is, I don't know what to do with that. It's like, I'm a highly trained psychologist. And also, do you bench press? It's like, yeah, you got to stay in your lane, ma'am. I don't know what to do with you.
Yeah,
It's not bad, but it's not good.
It's just there.
Again, I waxed poetic about all that I like about this, but this movie starts out exhilarating and it ends up exhausting. It's loud. It's very close to that Batman 66, but it just continues to be loud and obnoxious. And it's like, well, you had a good thing, but then you overdid it. So now I'm kind of like, So it's just other. And this is my big other. Legend tells us that there is a Schumacher cut somewhere. Probably on the shelves next to Snyder cuts. But
and next
apparently
to Ayer cuts and all the other cuts.
Apparently there's a 45-minute extra minutes of character development. And I'm saying that in other because you need to remember that for the bad things I have.
Okay.
If I don't say that, then some of the stuff's not going to make sense. But you can actually find deleted scenes and the entire script uploaded.
Character developments for whom?
For Bruce.
Oh, okay.
So I wish that we got the Schumacher cut. We did not. Just remember that as we dive into bad. What others do you have?
So I think that 89 and Returns are perfect Batman movies. I really enjoy them. They are wonderful movies. I think that Forever, for me, has a lot of nostalgia, but it's not a great movie. And, Batman and Robin is garbage. So I know that this is considered a standalone sequel, but I don't think that it really has any connection to what came before. Except the one throwaway line that Chase has where she's like, "Do I need black leather and a whip?"
There's that, but there's also the characters of Alfred and Commissioner Gordon.
Yes, yeah, but those are, I guess it's the same actor playing those, but because there's no reference to the Joker or Penguin or Catwoman, well, I guess the minor reference to Catwoman or the Red Triangle Gang, any of the stuff that happened in those first 2 movies, it just feels like let those 2 be those 2. And again, like I think I said with Batman Returns, if you want those stories to continue, there's 2 graphic novels and there's 2 full novels, one of which was released just this month, that live in the world of the Burton Batman. And in fact, the book that came out this month, Batman Revolution, is about the Riddler. So that is a better Riddler story if you want something within this world. The other thing that I have is, I guess that's more bad. So I guess I'm done with other. I'll lump that in with my bad.
Sounds great. Before we dive into it, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Do let's. Stay tuned. Planning your next vacation? Take to the skies with Air Grayson. Now with special prices for the fall. When you need to get from Gotham to Metropolis, or just anywhere that's less neon, Air Grayson is the airline for you. Our crew of well-trained pilots and staff make sure that you fly into your destination like a robin and ensure that every second you spend with us is the bomb. Barring any two-faced clientele, your complimentary flight includes high wires, nets, and age ambiguity. Fly Air Grayson Airlines, your one-way flight for the fall.
The pause you had between fall the first time was great.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think it's great. You get a ledger.
Ooh, solid.
Right in the ledger. However, there's some issues here.
There are many.
I wouldn't go many, but there's plenty.
Listen, some of these are nitpicky. Some of them are overarching issues, but there's a lot of problems.
There's a lot. I'll kick off.
All right.
Feel free to jump in as I overlap you. But like I said, Tommy Lee Jones is trying to out Jim Carrey, and it's not working. And unfortunately, there are reports and interviews where Tommy Lee Jones, like I said, did not understand the character, and I think that translates into him not being really Two-Face. He's just a loud guy in a jacket.
He could have been great because Tommy Lee Jones, if he played like the way he does in other Tommy Lee Jones movies, I'm thinking of movies, something like The Fugitive or U.S. Marshals. If he had done that with Harvey Dent, that would have been fantastic. Then he could have really made something of it.
But that's the thing with the character. There's none of the characterization. There's none of the dichotomy. There's none of the internal struggle. There's none of the back and forth. It's just not there.
Also, why is his face and hair pink? Why is it pink? Why is it pink? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
For what reason is it pink?
For what reason? Also, when they show the footage of him getting the acid in the face, why was Batman...
Totally didn't hit him.
Well, it didn't. But also, why was Batman in the courtroom? In Batman gear?
That's my next thing.
Why?
Why is Batman in court?
That was the first thing I wrote. Why is Batman in court?
Why is Batman in court? That's never explained. Speaking of pink, Gotham's look. Like, it's a laser tag party at a Circuit City.
It's monster mini golf.
Yeah, I don't get the why, other than, hey, we wanted to tell a very different version of Gotham. Well, you got it, but it's not good.
Yeah, it's more. It goes from being like a dark Gothic city based on New York, and turns it into like this, like Las Vegas-y kind of cyberpunk kind of thing.
Strip joint.
It's the same with it's the same with the gangs too. Like they all have like blacklight glow paint on, and I just don't understand.
Okay.
I just don't understand why.
Stylistic choices. The Batmobile looks like it's about to DJ a senior prom.
Yeah.
That looks stupid. But really what all of that kind of encompasses is just the tone. It's psychological, but it's also a cartoon. It's romantic, but it's also serious. It's like a smoothie made in a leaf blower. It's just like, bleh. It's all over the place. Like, pick a lane.
Here's everything I want to see in a movie. Not everything I want to see in one movie. They're all things I want to see in different movies, but let's all cram it in one movie.
Yep. Too much. Sorry, Schumacher. Why doesn't Bruce connect the riddles to the Riddler? Just seems pretty basic. Like, he's out there as the Riddler.
Yeah, but he's trying to figure out who he is.
He is, but it's like, you know who the Riddler is, so go after the Riddler. It took him a long time to... Like, he was trying to figure out Edward.
Right.
But, like, you know the persona. That would be like, okay, if I'm trying to figure out Batman, if I want to figure out who Bruce Wayne is, well, okay, start with Batman.
Yeah, okay.
But it was like he was going after the alter ego way more than he was going after the Riddler, and it was like, that guy makes riddles. You dunce. How many times have you watched a live broadcast of the circus on the news?
Never. None.
They made it seem like that's a normal thing.
It is in, Gotham, Vegas, Las Gotham.
Speaking of which, why does Bruce adopt a fully grown adult?
Oh my God. Okay, so that was in my other, when at some point when he's like, hey, Alfred, keep an eye on the kid. You mean the grown adult? And
Yeah.
it's a little
The emancipated
it's
youth.
a little ambiguous other times, but when he says, I only told that cop I would come live here so that social services wasn't on my ass. It's like, okay, social services? Do you have a child? Is
Yeah.
that why they're getting involved? Because that's the only explanation. You're 40. Like, calm down. This is like in the movie version of Grease with Rizzo, and she's like 37 or something, playing a high schooler. Like, he was, I think, in his late 20s or 30, and needed to be adopted by a millionaire, a billionaire,
Yeah.
whatever. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Unprofessional. Speaking of which, that laundry scene,
Karate laundry. Oh yeah.
just gonna leave that right there.
Who hangs their socks up to dry also? Like, the other stuff, fine. Like, I hang shirts up to dry. My wife hangs her jeans up to dry sometimes. Who hangs up their socks to dry?
Like they're nunchucks.
Ridiculous.
Also, OMG science. How does shooting Bruce in the face not kill him?
Well, it grazed him. You talking about when they attacked the mansion on Halloween? Halloween movie.
Yep. It is. It is. We missed that. Okay. Murder is not okay. I think that's just a basic rule.
I sense
And Batman doesn't do it.
I sense a but ever.
Yes. Now, Batman doesn't do it, but if you do something that accidentally leads to someone accidentally unaliving themselves, that's okay. But this is a bigger issue, and this is why I'm bringing it up. Like, yeah, okay, that's humorous. Okay, he doesn't kill anybody, but he kind of did, whatever.
He lets people die.
But Batman killing Two-Face undermines the entire theme of the movie.
But again, he doesn't directly kill Two-Face. He just causes his fall and doesn't save him.
Yes, but he uses Harvey's mental illness against him, and he gets revenge for Robin after he makes the choice not to.
But in the scene before that, the thing that bothered me was even leading up to that, when he finally like accepts Grayson as his partner and as Robin, and he's like, I can't promise that I won't kill Harvey. A man's got to go his own way. Batman would never actively partner with somebody who just said to him, I can't promise you that I'm not going to kill anybody.
Really?
Well, then you're not coming, sir.
What did he say?
Like, what? What?
I can't promise you I'm not going to do a terrible thing. Okay, get in the car.
Well, you got to make your own decisions. I won't stop you, or maybe
Yep.
I will. Like, what lesson are we learning here?
What are we talking about here?
Ridiculous.
Gordon is a joke. And
Again, that was adopted over from 66, is, Gordon being useless.
But here's my big issue. And it's the Schumacher Cut. Now, in the Schumacher Cut, they explore the whole reason.
Allegedly,
they explore the whole reason that Bruce has become Batman and why revenge is driving him. And it's actually guilt. It's guilt in believing that he murdered his parents. There's a deleted scene I saw. There's a journal that he finds, a red journal. And in it, Thomas wrote, we wanted to stay home tonight, but Bruce wanted to go out.
Oh.
And so they explore this whole scene that would have given this movie such a better, unique driver. It was a way more complex movie that was more psychological. It was more layered. That gave you not only the reason that he's trying to prevent things for Dick Grayson, but why he's going after things the way he is. And Bruce actually defines himself by this guilt, but then there's this moment, there's this deleted scene where he breaks free from that in the Batcave, and now he has a choice, which then he offers to Robin. We don't have that in this movie, and so it's kind of not fair to complain that it's a bad thing, but this is a very different movie if you get the director's version. Very different.
Interesting.
And for that, I actually can see what he was trying to do in the cut that we got, in the theatrical cut. You can kind of see that. But it is not just, campy and colors and all this other stuff. No, there is a beautiful narrative going on here, one that no other Batman movie has ever attempted to tell. And if we got the full story, I think it would be an amazing film.
Maybe.
Shut up. What else you got?
The writing is terrible. It is too punny. Everybody has puns. It's too much. Now, speaking of the puns, the Riddler is okay. So we talked about Two-Face and how that Jones didn't know what to do with the character. He didn't understand or research the character, and that we can agree that that is not who Two-Face is in any form. Jim Carrey is clearly basing his Riddler on Frank Gorshin's Riddler from '66, where he was this wacky guy. The Riddler is supposed to
Amped
be
up to 11.
The Riddler is supposed to be a maniacal character, but everything is intentionally intellectual. Both Two-Face and the Joker, both Two-Face and the Riddler in this movie are just the Joker in different costumes. Everything is laughing. Everything is doing things for the sake of chaos and the sake of destruction. The obsession with Batman just to be Batman. It doesn't work. The Riddler and Two-Face are two of my favorite characters. They're two of my favorite villains. And they really just take them and say, we like the name and some of the look, but we're going to do whatever we want with them.
I'll give you
Like,
that.
you don't even bother researching it. This one of the things with Two-Face that really bothers me is, one, his pronouns are inconsistent. Now, I've seen it done both ways, where Two-Face is both singular and refers to himself singularly and refers to himself plurally, but he does both in this, and it's not consistent. Like, pick one. Like, pick which version you're doing. Do you think of yourself as two people, or are you one person with two different motivations? It can't be both.
Well, and that's the issue. He doesn't understand the character.
Right, but then the writer also didn't understand, because the writer sometimes said we and then sometimes said I.
Well, is that actually playing into the dichotomy of the character?
Maybe accidentally, but
I was going to say accidentally.
It certainly
sure.
wasn't on purpose.
Nope.
What was the other thing I had about? Okay. So the other thing that really bothered me, again, now he didn't understand the character, but it really bothered me, the scene when they've broken into Wayne Manor and they're terrorizing Chase and Bruce. He's sitting on the couch, flipping the coin over and over again until he gets the desired result. That is completely outside what you've established with the character. You've established in this movie that the coin rules every decision. So if he flipped the coin once, the circumstances haven't changed. So why is he flipping it over and over and over until he gets the desired result? That's disloyal to not only the character, but what you've already established in this movie, because he flips the coin, he lets the guard live. He flips the coin, he let the Riddler live. He flipped the coin and he tried to kill somebody. So you've made it consistent that the coin is the decision maker. Great, that's what it should be. That's part of the character. But then you can't have him flip the coin until he gets the result he wants. That's
it.
That you've established that that's not fair. And that's not fair to the character. So that was a bad scene. Now, I know that Riddler and Two-Face did a lot of robbery. But how did they build that giant brain drain machine?
Science.
Yep. Everything. The whole idea behind that is OMG science. All of it is just crazy. Like, why, when it was destroyed, did all the things come zooming out of the Riddler's head? And also, if it started to do that, why didn't he just move out of that chair before he lost all of his intelligence and went crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody heard Batman when he stood up in the circus and said, "Harvey, I'm Batman." Like, I get the crowd was screaming and all that stuff, but the people right next to him couldn't hear him say that. That seems dumb. Also, in Chase's apartment, why is Batman on the cover of Time magazine? Like, what is Batman the sexiest man alive? He is not Jonathan Bailey. Let me tell you what. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Riddler and Two-Face are still on the run. Now he's, in the midst of an investigation as to like who they are, why they're doing these things. They're wreaking havoc on Gotham, and he decides in the middle of it that Batman is no more. Like, it's not going to be, okay, this is going to be my last case as Batman. Once they're in jail, then Batman is no more. Okay. I mean, that's fine. You've
Sure.
paid your debt. That's fine.
Have a
But
runway.
in the middle of so what? It's why? Just why?
Why? Why?
The effects, man, do not hold up. The CGI does not hold up. The worst, why are there so many friggin' statues, giant statues of just giant muscular.
So that they can fall.
I don't know why there's so many statues, but when you first get that kind of like zoom into the like research and development part of Wayne Enterprises, when you first like meet Edward Nygma and he's like doing the tour of that science lab, that the effects where the big waterfall is, that the effects on that so bad, so bad. It does
So
not hold up.
95.
Very 95. Does not hold up. But that's all my
Well,
bad.
you got any spiritual content?
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if this was where I wanted to land. But I'm gonna lean into it. A big thing that we see in especially Christian culture right now, and it's something that you and I are very familiar with, is the idea of deconstruction. I'm still in the midst of mine. I know that you spent a long time going through it, and I really see a parallel with that, with the way that Bruce is with Batman. You see in this movie, he goes from being frustrated and feeling like he has to be Batman because of, like you said, because of his guilt or because of duty. He feels like he has to be Batman, and then he goes through a phase of rejecting, like, no, Batman is no more. I found something in Chase. I found something in being Bruce Wayne that I want more, and that's where my focus is going to be. And then eventually, he says to the Riddler, like, I'm not Batman or Bruce Wayne because I have to be. I choose to be both, and I choose to accept that this is my destiny. This is who I am. This is what I want to be. And he kind of makes Batman his own. Instead of it controlling him, it's a suit that he puts on, and it's a character that he plays now. And I feel like that was a great representation of what deconstruction is kind of looks like, and what faith needs to be. The faith you have needs to be a choice. It can't be because your parents told you that's the way it should be. It's how you were raised, because your spouse is or isn't believes or doesn't believe the same way. Those can't be those may be what maybe initially influenced you one way or the other, but that can't be the basis for your faith, because then it doesn't mean anything. It has to at some point become your decision to be like, you know what, I need to take what I've been told to believe, or what I thought I believed, or what I've been shown my whole life. I need to kind of pull this apart and see, is this what I believe? Does this actually resonate with me? Are these things true? Are these things not true? Because that's the only way that you can have it really affect your life, and it's the only way that you can really do something powerful with it is when it's yours. If it's someone else's that you've adopted, or if you've adopted it as a failsafe or as a you needed it at the time, but now you don't feel like you have that emotional connection anymore, it's not going to have the effect that it should in your life or in your decisions. And if you want it to really be something that means something, it has to be your choice, and you have to decide what it's going to look like for you and how that connects to what God is calling you into.
I love that for you.
Thank you. It was nice.
Mine is very different.
I assumed as much.
In Batman Forever, Edward Nygma looks at Bruce and he decides he wants to be him.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't want to be the real Bruce. He wants to be the idea of Bruce. He wants to be the charming, brilliant, admired billionaire with all the lights and, none of the shadows.
All the glitz and glam.
But he doesn't want Bruce's humility. He doesn't want Bruce's wounds. He doesn't want his growth. He doesn't want his quiet work that he's doing in the dark. He wants the surface. He wants the persona.
Mm.
And so then Edward actually reshapes himself into that image. There's a new suit. There's a new way he walks, a new haircut, a new voice, a new confidence. And what happens at the end? He doesn't become Bruce. He becomes a distorted parody of somebody he never actually understood.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think this is true for all of us. You can't become what you only envy. You can only become what you choose to walk with. Paul talks about this in 1 Corinthians 11:1 when he says, imitate me as I imitate Christ. And what he's saying is, what he's not saying is copy my style, copy what I do, copy my stage presence. He's saying follow my life as I follow his life. And so it's an imitation of a lifestyle of sacrifice, of submission, of love. It's the work that he's inviting him to, not the persona. And Jesus never says, look like me on the outside, but don't do anything transformative on the inside. What he actually always says is, walk with me, learn from me, be transformed inside, and then that will manifest itself out. Where Nygma wanted identity without intimacy, Jesus invites us into transformation through intimacy, and it actually starts in the quiet places. It starts with honesty. It starts with being known and not just trying to copy what we think that person is.
That's really good.
That's why this movie's great, man.
Okay. Well,
it's so layered. It's so good. And so we're going to rate it.
We are.
May I go first?
Please. I beg you to do so.
What do you think I rated it?
I think I'm going to guess, based on what we've said both on and off mic, that you
based on my giddiness
are going with Bale.
And you would be wrong. I gave it a Keaton.
Sir.
This is a great film,
Sir.
Filled with excellent messaging. You can watch this movie and you can see a pop neon innuendo filmed movie, but if you dive in, if you do the work, if you start analyzing what's being said, and yes, you have to review the cut that did not make it, there is something beautiful and amazing about this movie that I have never seen before, and I'm so thankful you made us do this. I give it a Keaton.
Sir, did you watch this as a kid? Like, did you watch this like when it came out?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yep. I didn't know if this was one
of
the movies you would have or not. So you have some nostalgia lens with it as well.
This one, yes, and I tried to basically put that to the side, not to dismiss it, but I knew that would inform how you saw it. And so I tried to balance the two with going, okay, I do remember this very fondly, but is there more on the table that I never saw? Now, as sort of a film critic, as somebody who makes movies and understands all of the complexity of it, and I can't help but see all the beauty of what was intentioned for this movie. So, Keaton it is.
Yeah, I went the opposite direction. Now, I have a ton of nostalgia for this movie. Like I said, I was the Riddler for Halloween. I had a bunch of the toys. I still have a bunch of them. Batman Forever has a special place in my heart. But if I look at it critically, for me, it is well in the realm of Pattinson. It's fine. You know, it's fine. It's not the last time I'll watch it. Like I'll put it on. It can be something I put on in the background. There are lines from it that are part of my everyday vernacular, that, you know, things I've said to my son and things that I say to my wife. And she, you know, she actually watched it with me while I was, you know, taking notes and stuff. And she was like, "Oh, is that what this is? Is that why you say that?" I'm like, "Yeah, because I've, you know, seen it
Yeah, that's why I say it.
dozens of times." Yeah, that's what, especially when the stuff is being sucked out of his head, and he's like, "Bummer." Yeah, like I say that a lot, but um, yeah, taking away the memory and the nostalgia of it, it just is fine. So, but audience, what do you feel about Batman Forever? What do you feel about it as a movie? What do you feel about it as a sequel to the Burtonverse? You know, what do you think? All told.
Let us know in all the comments.
All the places. Joey, tell them the places. Tell them the places.
The places are Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, and right here on good old YouTube, baby.
This is my favorite one, I think, is YouTube, baby.
Yeah, because then you get to see our faces.
Exactly.
If you're just listening, that's cool. But you don't know why some of the noises happen.
Exactly.
And I hope they bother you enough that they send you over to YouTube just so you can see what's going on.
And also, you don't know that I wear a different hat every single episode, every single reel.
You don't know that these lights are tailored per movie based on color schemes that I may or may not have.
There's so much that you don't get from just the audio. But anyway, it's time to shut this. It's time to shut this ish down, sir.
Shut it down.
So, in closing, remember, kids, ball up the fist, reach way back, and assert yourself. Bye.
I don't care what you say. He was magical to watch. He actually gave me Robin Williams level energy.
Which is interesting because that was the original first choice for the Riddler, was Robin Williams, yeah.
Too much.
So pull it back. It's too much. Everything you're doing is bad. I want you to know this.
I want you to know this.